Hi everybody. We're going to start with reading our book, The Boy Who Dared, and we picked up on page 62, which is where we left off last Thursday. We are right in the middle of the page, starting right here. Over the next several days, Helmuth and Rudy prowl the Rothenburg streets, engaging the local shopkeepers and customers in conversation about the night of the stabbing. Helmuth keeps careful notes. He jots down each detail, no matter how small or insignificant. Afterward, he and Rudy put the details together, shaping a story, tracing the streetwalkers' last night. At a small pub along the Ausschlager Alley, they make a significant discovery. In the smoky room, filled with customers who wear the cloth caps of working men, a barmaid whispers a name, Franz Seaman. She had seen him talking to the streetwalker just a few nights before the murder. Helmuth senses Rudy's excitement, and he elbows a gentle warning to remain composed. Helmuth nods and thanks the barmaid, then nudges Rudy outside. "I know that man," says Rudy excitedly. "He is an unemployed dock worker. He's always looking for handouts and a free drink. Do you think we have a suspect?" "I don't know. We only have a name, but at least we have information from Inspector Becker. Something to go on." The boys hurry to the Hammerdijk station and report their findings. "Unemployed, you say?" says Inspector Becker, looking pleased. "At a time when Hitler has jobs for everyone? Sounds like a suspicious character, possibly an anarchist. There are those people who want to undermine this great country, all mentally unstable, if you ask me, in need of rehabilitation." Helmuth's insides tighten at hearing this. He realizes something that frightens him. Inspector Becker seems to have already found Franz Seaman guilty, but Inspector Becker shakes their hands and assures them they did the right thing. He will send 2 agents to pick up Franz Seaman and bring him in for questioning. 2 days later, Helmuth and Rudy stop by the police station, and Inspector Becker tells them that Seaman is in prison where he belongs. Becker pumps their hands again, congratulates them for helping to solve the case, promises to keep them in mind if he has other cases for them to solve. Helmuth pushes down the unease he feels. Surely he hasn't accused an innocent man. Surely Inspector Becker would not allow that to happen. But still, the unease is there, a nagging feeling. The next time Helmuth sees Rudy, Rudy's left arm is bandaged from wrist to elbow. "What happened?" Helmuth asked. "An accident," says Rudy, and he tells Helmuth how he had been playing chase with other boys from his street, and how he fell through a window, shattering the glass and severing an artery in his wrist. Rudy was rushed to the hospital for an emergency surgery. Helmuth whistles in stunned sympathy. "That wasn't the worst part," says Rudy. "I had 2 visitors from the Gestapo." "The Gestapo? What do they want?" "To investigate me. The nurses went through my wallet and found the Lord Lister card. They reported me as a potential enemy agent." Helmuth snorts. "You? An enemy agent?" Rudy snaps at Helmuth. "It's not funny. They wanted to know who Lord Lister was. Wanted to know why I worked for a British detective agency." "Did you tell them it was a game? A made-up game?" "Of course. But the one agent slapped me. Hard. He said it was no game to them. He warned me that they take subversive activity very seriously. The second agent wanted to know if it was a cover-up for a secret underground movement." Helmuth's insides twist. He does not want to be in trouble with the Gestapo. Rudy looks ready to cry. "They fired question after question at me. Then they took my words and twisted them and used them against me. They wanted to know what adults were involved." "This is unfair," says Helmuth. "A Gestapo badge is not a license to abuse innocent people." Rudy quiets him. "I told them to ask Inspector Becker that he would know who I am. The men wrote his name down, and they said they'd check out my story, and for my sake, I had better not be lying. I'll never forget the look in their eyes, like they enjoyed scaring me, and then they said, 'We'll find out the truth, we always do.' They took my wallet and my Lord Lister card with them." "This is insane," says Helmuth. "We want to help the police, and now they've turned on us?" Rudy nods. "They were trying to trip me up, trying to get me to say something that wasn't true, trying to get me to give information about somebody else, anything at all. They wrote it all down." "Let them take notes," says Helmuth. "All the notes they want. What do we care? We don't know anything that can hurt anyone." "I don't ever want to go through anything like that again." You won't, says Helmuth. Inspector Becker will straighten them out. That's the last you'll see of the Gestapo. I hope so, says Rudy. I felt so scared, so guilty, even though I'd done nothing wrong. Helmuth wishes there were something more he could say, something he could do to help Rudy, but at this moment he feels helpless. Exercise time ends. The guard barks another command. Helmuth retrieves his slop bucket, trudges back to his cell, sets the slop bucket in the corner. It's time to clean. Helmuth takes his time, stretches out each task to pass the morning. He dusts the table, the chair, the floors, the corner, especially the corner. Dust is verboten. Helmuth winces, doesn't want to think about the punishment that dust brings. As he cleans, he wonders about Franz Seaman, wonders if he was truly guilty, wonders how he held up under the Gestapo interrogation he certainly received. Helmuth knows all about Gestapo interrogations now. He knows that prisoners will say anything, admit to anything to make the torture stop. He wishes he could tell Franz Seaman how sorry he is. Helmuth digs vigorously at the dust in the corner. The summer of 1938 turns to crisp fall. The Germans are upset at stories the Czechs and Poles are abusing ethnic Germans living in Czechoslovakia and Poland. Hitler orders troops to the border of Czechoslovakia, sending a strong warning to those who dare to mistreat Germans. He demands the Sudetenland, where many Germans live, and gets his way. Helmuth and Rudy never hear from Inspector Becker again. The police are too busy arresting Polish Jews living in Germany, cramming them into trains and shipping them back to Poland. Have you seen the long lines of Jews at the train station? Says Hugo one night in late October. A good thing we've got too many Jews as it is. No need to keep the Polish ones, too. Too many Jews? Says Gerhard. Germany has 6 million people. It has 60 million people. And out of that 60 million, only 1/2 million are Jews. And look at the trouble those 500,000 have caused, says Hugo matter-of-factly. How many Jews do you know? Asks Helmuth quietly. Hugo thinks over the answer. None, and now, thanks to our Führer, I will soon know even fewer. He chuckles at his own joke. No one wants the Jews, not even America. Americans have no right to criticize us. They rounded up their Indians, you know, put them on reservations. Helmuth pities the Polish Jews who are herded onto trains, shipped back to Poland, but feels sorrier still when Poland doesn't want them back. At the Polish border, Polish authorities deny the Jews entry and detain them in open fields without shelter, food, or water, while the Polish and German governments argue. After several tense days, the Polish government agrees to compromise. Poland takes some of the Jews, and the rest are shipped back to Germany. A great victory, says Hugo. We have shown Poland that they cannot dictate policy to us. Germany is for Germans, true Germans. The November weather turns colder, the sky always dark and gray. Hamburg is beautiful nonetheless, with its rivers and canals, craggy spires and turrets, and, for a city that had been so poor before Hitler's rise to power, the sound of work, of hammering, rings along the docks, building ships and U-boats. It is beautiful, too. There is excitement in Germany, prosperity, pride in everything German, but there is tension, too. And on November 7th, the radio crackles with news reports about a young Jew named Herschel Grinspan, who has shot a Nazi official, Ernst von Rath, in Paris. A fever grips the German people as they learn that the official lies near death in a Paris hospital. It's a plot, rages Hugo. A cowardly plot. Another Jewish plot to bring Germany to its knees, to cripple the fatherland. How can you call it a plot? Asks Helmuth. It's one 17-year-old boy who shot one Nazi. But Hugo won't listen. Mark my words. It's a plot. The next day, to prove his point, Hugo waves the Nazi Party paper, the Volksschreier Beobachter, with its thick black headlines that cry, "Outrage! World Jewry attacks!" See, he says, I was right, and the Jews will pay for their cowardly act. 2 nights later, Muddy is clinking dinner dishes in the kitchen sink as Hugo dresses. The radio is on, has been on for 2 days, so that Hugo can listen and sputter and shout about the news. Hugo shrugs into his thick black coat, picks up his SS hat. He nuzzles Muddy's neck. "Be careful. Don't go out tonight," he says. "And don't wait up." There is a dangerous glint in Hugo's eyes. Hugo leaves. Helmuth stands at the window, watches as Hugo crosses to the corner. It is drizzling. The black pavement gleams wet. The street is quiet. Oddly quiet. No police. No pedestrians. Just the distant rumble of a streetcar. Under the gas lamp, Hugo greets several men. All are wearing uniforms. They stand proudly, as if their uniforms make them something. Two are so drunk they lean against each other. The night seems ordinary enough, just a bit darker than usual, a bit quieter. Muddy calls Helmuth from the window. She has changed the radio station, and a Wagner opera now fills the flat. "Come dry," she says to Helmuth, pressing a dish towel into his hand. As Helmuth dries the last dish, the Wagner opera is interrupted. A newscaster breaks in with a special report. The Nazi official Ernst von Rath has died. After that, the night explodes. Helmuth hears distant shouts, crashing, splintering, the roar of engines. Trucks come and go all night. The next morning, just as Gerhard and Helmuth finish breakfast, Hugo stumbles in the door. The smell of smoke hangs on his coat. There is a strange look of feverish excitement in his bloodshot eyes, making them a sharper and brighter blue. Muddy brings him 2 soft-boiled eggs in blue egg cups and a thick slice of rye toast. Hugo grabs a knife, hatchets off the top of his eggs. He dunks the bread in the runny yolks and gobbles it down. Hugo turns on the radio. In full cry, the newscaster erupts with the details of spontaneous riots against the Jews that have taken place all over Germany. It's all in retribution for the Jew who killed the Nazi official in Paris. Synagogues are burned down or nearly demolished. Jewish shops, stores, businesses, and private homes ransacked and destroyed. Jews arrested and trucked away. "It's terrible," says Muddy. She touches Hugo's neck, folds down the collar of his shirt. "I agree. It's not pretty," says Hugo. "People do terrible things when they're angry. But Jews must learn that they can't get away with murder." Hugo finishes the second egg and his toast. He sucks the egg from his mustache, pushes away from the table, and heads to the bedroom. He collapses with a groan onto the bed. Muddy follows him, and from the kitchen, Helmuth watches as she tugs off his boots and draws the blanket over him. Helmuth wrestles a sudden wave of nausea as he realizes what Hugo did last night. But it's Gerhard who says something when Muddy returns. "How can you?" he whispers to Muddy. "You heard the news. How can you not say anything?" Muddy bites her lip, doesn't answer for a long while, and when she does, she speaks without looking at her sons. "Silence is how people get by sometimes. I don't expect you to understand." Helmuth's disgust turns to pain for his mother and disgust for himself. He recognizes silence. He is silent every night around Hugo, every day at school when Herr Vink says terrible things about Jews, every meeting with the young folk when they play games like Capture the Jew. Gerhard stalks out. Helmuth leaves too. He heads toward school and then changes his mind and turns toward the Grindel district. Nothing prepares him for what he sees. The work of Hugo and his Nazi friends, the ruined shops and businesses, the burned-out buildings, the smoldering synagogue, its colorful glass windows shattered, the looters, their arms heaped with clothing and shoes, everything they can carry, the splintered furniture, the weeping women pushing broken glass with their brooms. All around is misery and destruction. Outside a pub, several drunken stormtroopers sit in soot-covered uniforms, singing about the greatness of Germany. Helmuth catches the sour smell of beer, and it sickens him. He turns, catching his reflection in the window, loathes the silent German who stares back at him. Dust motes swirl in the late morning sunlight. Helmuth follows the swirling stream to the cell window, stands on tiptoe, reaches to wipe the sill. It is verboten to look out the window, but later he will. Later he will listen for footsteps in the corridor, the jangle of keys, and, when it's clear, he will stand on the table, He will gaze beyond the high brick wall, the red tile rooftops, the spike of church steeples, the linden and chestnut trees. A sparrow flits by, nearly tempts him to the window, but he stops himself. He wants to save the best part of the afternoon for later. Doesn't want to sit, either. And so he paces, 8 steps the length of the cell. He pushes off the back wall, turns, takes 8 steps back, pushes off the front wall, back and forth, back and forth. He blocks out the jangle of keys, the clang of cell doors opening, closing, and the words, "Come with us, it's time." All right, that's the end for today. We've stopped on page 74. Tomorrow, that is where we'll pick up, right here. See you then.